really need to look at how the internet and social media has impacted our lives. We need to be able to look at things from the positive as well as the more critical. As far as my own life, the positive is I'm able to live off the grid and create content and make just enough to get by month to month. Before the you-know-what hits the fan, and I started out a few years earlier, if in fact we're going to see some major shifts, at the very least, I get to live a life freer than those that are in the city. It may not be as interesting and may even be boring from time to time, but I'm learning to appreciate that boredom, the extra time to think about things, and then I need to discipline myself to think about the right things and cut back on certain things. On a dietary level, sometimes people cut back on fat. Is it fat that's the issue, or is it the kind of fat? Is it the internet that's the issue, or is it the kind of things that we're doing on the internet? It's like the other day, I was ready to cut the internet, not just to save $67 per month, including satellite dish rental per month, because I didn't buy it. So there's a little rental fee with all that, plus a little internet health insurance. So if something goes wrong with it, they'll come out and fix it. They'll navigate their way up these long dirt roads. By the way, one of the compliments some people have about this county are the roads. So it's like a big deal with like elections and stuff. Check out what's going on in Costilla County by following the case of Vincent Edwards. A little side note. Yeah. The internet, on the other hand, can turn us against each other. Facebook affects me on a fundamental level in a way that at times I feel powerless. I'm so angry when I'm on Facebook. And I don't have that same charge on my YouTube channel or on my Twitter or when I leave. Facebook is mind control. And I find that people get more upset by being unfriended or blocked, right, than actual real concerns about millions of people being killed on this planet. And I wonder, what has happened to these people? A lot more people get more concerned if they're blocked than actual people being murdered. And just the idea of the stage manufactured divide within our country to prepare us for the next global conflict. They really hit us hard with that North Korea thing. And remember, go back and watch some of those videos. If they're not pulling the plug now, which I said I don't see how they are, because I'm looking at 2025 or the 2020s being really like the breaking open of the virginity, potentially, the popping of the cherry, the beginning of the actual moves that lead to the inevitable breach of the U.S. defenses, where China and Russia will just walk right in. So I see how a lot of people are inundated now with all these perceived threats and ways that they can entertain themselves, and ways that we now express ourselves with emojis. We could see how many people are laughing at someone falling down and getting hurt. We could see how many people are crying and showing expressions of anger to replace actual real communication. People have gone from actually communicating to Facebook replacing our friendships to the emoji replacing actual dialogue. People are more upset about their falling outs with people on Facebook, myself included, because, you see, I'm infected by this reality as well. There's a certain person out there that was going to make a documentary about internet addiction, and it might have been a good thing. If he's already a Bitcoin millionaire, dude, tell us. Tell us. He's got this trailer, Unical or Unicall, at AMTV, and it's like, yeah, you're showing us in 3 minutes like a dude strung out on technology, and then you got strung out on Bitcoin, which some could say is an extension of the internet addiction, while you scream up and down saying like it's a parallel internet. know what I'm saying? And we're all Freudian, dude. Like, how do you think, ma'am? How do you think I know about this shit? How do you think I know about half the stuff I talk about? Because I've lived it, or I've survived it, or I'm working to survive it. What has Facebook shown me? It showed me how many people will be angry at a story about maybe somebody escaping a series of bombs. Now they're safe for now, and they're angry. They're angry. They're angry. I mean, Facebook has shown me how deep the devil lives within our hearts. We have to counter the devil within. We have to defeat the archon within us that comes out in our angry interactions with others on social media. Social media has taught me about the way of the archons. It's shown me things that I would have never learned before about archon mind control. What's that, Alex? More of a term you're making up? But it's the idea, not a term or an idea I'm making up. This is something that spiritual warriors have sought to understand since the dawn of time, since they've found themselves under attack by forces beyond human. Or we can even see humans, in some cases, possessed by their influence. And I would say even possessed by fear. You look at the bombings recently in Austin. Now we ask ourselves, how are humans possessed by fear? You may not be possessed by an evil spirit or to do evil to others. We may be collectively possessed by fear. So we continue to sacrifice our children for their military, to go overseas and die these wars by being told indefinitely, they are coming after you. They are coming after you. And so, they tell us about the eternal blood sacrifice that is needed for our homeland. And see talking points from 1938 Germany. Are taking place right now. Those that would have warned us about the Reichstag fire after 9/11, Alex Jones and others, would be identified by some of us to be actually serving the enemy of the people today. That includes the enemy of white people that will use fascism to make white Americans look like a force that must be intervened, stopped, occupied. This is all pre-invasion propaganda. Every evil they are conditioning Americans to partake in is pre-American invasion propaganda. People laugh and scoff and think I'm having a mental health crisis today by discussing this blueprint for global enslavement. By the time they actually seek to actually be my friend, I may not be on the internet in a few years' time. They're waiting until the 2020s. They're waiting until the things that I've warned them about actually happen in Oregon, Washington, California. But until they actually happen, I'm a madman to them. And nothing's ever going to change that. They'll always suspect the work that I'm doing is being covert, sleight of hand for something else, another agenda. One day, they believe in their minds, they will expose the agenda that was covert to you this entire time. They're going to be on that wild goose hunt, chase, for the rest of their lives. Why waste your life? Why not help now? Why not think about your own future if you're thinking about relocating in the next 2 years? Why are you waiting? If you think these things are come to fruition, why do you say you can't do it? Why are you demanding an experience like homelessness and joblessness to end your life until you're forced to see how you can live with less? Why wait? Why wait? You don't have to wait. You don't have to live on social media. You don't have to be dependent of the grid. You don't have to let Facebook replace your friendships. You can be full human. You can go Scion, Super Saiyan human now, not dumbed down human. Get take that pot of coffee and build a house with it. Create a website with it. Create YouTube videos that can get people thinking. It's okay to work. It's necessary. It's okay to leave time for your family. It's okay to go out and treat yourself to a happy meal or a really nice meal. It's your life. But ultimately, you're watching this channel for a reason. You know this isn't a makeup channel. You know this isn't a sports channel. You know this isn't a gun channel. It's also not an anti-gun channel. You know this isn't a how-to off-the-grid channel. You know this isn't a show or channel where we feature the most beautiful groomed dogs you've ever seen. You know this is a channel where I talk about living, breathing, outside the box of the norm. And why I named my show Outside the Box in 2004. Without even realizing how in the box people would try to place me as my adulthood would go on, as we would approach 2016, and the period of the greatest internal divide over the illusions of separation that I've ever seen in the entirety of my life. Will we recover from what's been done in the last several years? I wait to see examples. As a smoker, right, I wait to see signs of life from the fellow smokers of the green, people that are actually active in things. But yet, the only people that have ever been friends of mine in recent years have been non-smokers. Why is that? As I appreciate them for allowing me to be me. Why is that? That so few of the people that I know on Facebook are actually talking about camping trips and get-togethers and off-grid living and independent media. Our way of life has changed us, ladies and gentlemen. And it's not that we can't, on a collective level, see more consciousness, but this is not those times. Do not be confused by the bright lights and the clear blue skies, almost clear. The geoengineering is still there. The artificial energy is waves that affect our brains and our cells down to the micro level. It's all still there. We're still on planet Earth. This may be a beautiful part of the prison planet, but it's still a prison planet. And the propaganda of the prison planet, in some ways, has affected my peers here more than sometimes I wonder. Whether people in the grid are more infected by the disinformation online, or whether people here are, that are a little bit more separate from civilization and what the real world is like. Not on YouTube, not on Twitter, not on Facebook, but the real world. You know the real world? The real world. You know, where I would actually remember what it's like to have a cup of coffee with someone who may be living within 100 miles of where I actually, hey, Alex, come say hi when you're in New York City, when you're in Philadelphia, when you're in Miami, when you're in Portland, when you're in LA. Although I was in LA, where were you? No, ladies and gentlemen, there's not going to be any more trips to the biggest dense population centers in America. I'll spend out my last days here as a voice of reason in the wilderness. From somewhere out there, I'm Alex Hansen, reminding you the path to the ultimate truth and place of power still lies with it. Refills right here. That's right. Almost full. So the top trending story right now on YouTube and on the Newswire, it's a question. Is it time to delete your Facebook page? Now, for those of you that have seen the videos that I've done on the disinformation that's been on the internet the last few years to demonize the real truth movement. You've heard my speculation that Facebook knowingly worked with those bad actors, if you will. And what people are missing when they're too busy making this political and defending the president is that they worked both sides of the conflict. There's no way that the Russian bots did it by themselves, because our own government has been very active in putting disinformation on Facebook and toying with your feed, messing with your emotions. That came out in 2012. Now we're in a situation where, let's say I'm broken down the side of the road. And I don't have a cell phone, but let's say I'm in an area where I know there may be some people on my Facebook in that area, and maybe a couple years ago, if I were to go there to that area that I was stranded, I would probably be able to connect with viewers and people that support my work via Facebook if this was a few years ago. Now hardly anybody sees my posts. Of course, if it's something controversial, all of a sudden they'll pop up and they'll have something to say. But it's like Facebook has a way of also rendering us invisible. So here's what's come out. There's this company, and people are automatically going fake news because they don't like the revelations. Cambridge Analytica. And they want to make it political. Whether or not the election was swayed one way or the other, where I'm saying the real issue isn't that. It's both sides of the conflict being influenced by social media and the special interests that have a vested interest in seeing us at each other's throats. I've said this verbatim now for almost several years. And how certain figures are plants to shut down free speech by leading people to extremism. We talk about Alex Jones and people like that in that context. So when I'm looking at this, I just want to let you know what I'm seeing. Zuckerberg responds with open letter on the Cambridge Analytical scandal. He apologizes, saying we have a basic responsibility to protect people's data. And this article from TechSpot said he stopped short of apologizing. And basically went on to make the following quote. We have a responsibility to protect your data, and if we can't, then we don't deserve to serve you. It's just kind of like a way of going, well, we fucked up, deal with it. Deal with what? Now, how much data have they been amassing? And people have been speculating about mind control technologies. How does Facebook throw you an ad when you were just thinking about something? People are actually asking this question, by the way. How would some $300 computer, but maybe it's not the computer doing that. Maybe it's these new iPhones that people are getting cracked out on. Then you want to freebase that shit, speedball it, mix in that Facebook with your new smartphone. Man, make sure you don't OD on that shit. Be careful. And see, if I was not so active on Facebook and social media, like my .tv Facebook page would have so many more likes, because I would have gotten into so many less clashes with people on Facebook over trivial things and instant messages. I'm not a happy man when I'm on Facebook. I don't know if people knew this about me. I like being off grid. I'm not happy though. This, internet, social media, I'm just ready to pull the plug on the whole thing. But I can't because I put out videos. But if I wasn't putting out videos, you know what? This thing, not only in Facebook, not only in YouTube, not only in Twitter, I would pull the plug on the whole thing if it wasn't such a big part of my life to make videos. I miss the time where, you could meet someone off social media and maybe a nice lady or something like that, not have ladies add you on Facebook so they could find something wrong with you and go, ha ha, he's just like the rest. And it's like, this isn't a game, ladies. This isn't a game, gentlemen. This is our lives. Facebook should be used to promote the real meetup. Instead, it's the place where friendships and relationships go to die. You want to preserve your relationship with someone, your friendship with someone? Don't let Facebook be your main way that you interact with them. Eventually, it'll fade away. And those dopamine rushes that you get from that like also have a dark side. When people get angry with each other, see, once people get linked psychically over these social media networks and they start having psychic wars, mind wars, it's like, no need for a headset, ladies and gentlemen. We human beings send off signals back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, whether people believe that we're doing that biologically or not. So send out positive thoughts. Send me your positive thoughts if you'd like to see this channel progress, and for me to do well. Understand that your thoughts have power, right? And what have we done, myself included? How do you think I know about this stuff? I've lived it, folks. I've lived it. I've given Facebook more of my personal details about my life than my private journal. It's my private journal. Want to read some of it? Oh, you can't. It's handwriting. It's my handwriting. It needs a code breaker. So, but Facebook, and I type really fast, I'm able to output a lot of thoughts. Do those thoughts that I've outputted to Facebook have earned your respect on a greater level? Or does it more or less cause people to go, man, you got a fucking attitude? It's a different, when you're reaching people that read books, as opposed to people that are hooked on social media, it's a different audience. And that's why you're an element of the human audience. And other people that read books and read things and digest things on a deeper level, though some of you may be readers, but I don't know that you're the majority because of the nature of the ghetto of YouTube. But it's more likely than not, if you're watching this channel, that you do appreciate literature or the arts or things regarding humanity, or maybe that you're beyond the left-right paradigm. But you know as well as I do what social media and YouTube has done to the best of us. One thing that you'll notice about professionals that work in the field that are successful, right? They don't get too addicted to this technology. They hire people to use the technology to promote and market their stuff while they stay professional and they stay creative. And when they're not doing work, then they're out, they're playing hard. They're traveling the nation. They're doing something with their body. They're going after and they're eating good, healthy food or something of that nature. They're trying to better their lives. They're trying to better their relationships. They become even more successful. But I tell you what, cocaine and like Facebook, both of those can eradicate one's success if they're not in control of themselves. And that's today's word. That's answers. But yeah, that's just some food for thought with regards to all this. But this is confirming that which I've warned you about. They've taken our data with it. They've used that data to alter our news feed. So we may feel a little extra angry, And by the way, if you are using Facebook, go to facebook.com/alexansary.tv. Just because this stuff's going on doesn't mean that I'm not going to reach people that are still using Facebook. And on this page, I am posting some news and some of the videos. One thought that I had earlier. That's it. They're electing Satan in 2024, and we will be fed to the beast on election night. Trump, Obama, and Bush, maybe you can even add Clinton, gave us time to run, but now there will be no more warnings. Run. Run. Run to the hills, but prepare to survive the hill people once you get there. Till next time, I'm Alex Answer, reminding you the path to the ultimate truth and place of power still lies within. So, I don't normally listen to the Joe Rogan podcast, but it looks like, I'm vibing with some of the titles and some of the topics that Joe Rogan is addressing in some recent videos in recent months on social media, being addictive, on marijuana, being addictive, but also having its purpose. And we like to become better people. And so we listen to people that are strong, or at least we try to. Hopefully we do. And people that have achieved certain things that we want to achieve. Even if that is achieving a sense of inner peace and balance. So I know that Facebook is great, right? At making myself look bad to certain people. The way stuff appears in text, isn't necessarily as it's intended, but also we could find ourselves just naturally pissed off because we're on a medium that may be designed to do that. And we may not know why that is. And I bet you they haven't disclosed everything about it. So, let's go ahead and listen to Joe Rogan. He has a guest here. I don't know his name. The topic, how social media is damaging humans. And I thought this would be something good to follow up on in light of the recent news and podcasts that I've made on the subject. Yesterday in the podcast, I was discussing how fear on the internet, social media, could be used to feed those very archonic forces that I've already spoken about at great length. So have others. So what if we really are in some sort of a matrix type reality to where our fears are fuel for something that sees us as its prey, our natural predator? Be able to identify in this world what is your natural predator. Now let's go to that clip.
You have a real flip phone.
I do have a real flip phone.
And you said that you didn't go back to it. You never left.
I never left her.
So you never went like iPhone, Android, never?
No, never even thought about it.
Never even thought about it?
No.
You see people taking pictures and using apps, nothing?
Nothing. Nah, I don't need the apps. I'm good.
There's no draw at all, nothing, using the internet, answering email.
Well, I have a laptop at home, and I do access the internet, yes.
But when you're out, you don't want to mess with it.
No, when I'm out, I want to be out. I'm in the world,
Right.
And if you're looking at your phone, you're not in the world, and so you don't get either. You don't get either thing.
So I'll pause here and there. When you're out on a date or you're hanging out with someone, if they're constantly looking at their phone, does it seem like they're really enjoying time with you? And there may be a part of them that is, but it may be an addictive thing. Maybe we've been that person. Maybe I've been that person when I'm hanging out with someone to look at my Facebook via my laptop. Now, how is that different? It's not different, and I'm accountable for that. What are the repercussions for that type of rewiring of the mind? Why are some business professionals, and I knew one once in Portland, he was like an old friend of the family, an old teacher, and I don't know if he still has refrained from texting, but he certainly refrained from social media. But if he was going to use his phone, and he used his phone a lot, he used his phone to talk to someone, not to connect with them on social media, and not to have a back and forth texting experience with someone or whoever he's dating. So some people, I think, professional people that have kind of that innate intuition of what it takes to be successful, they will hardwire themselves to not engage in certain behaviors because of the addictive nature. Going back to the clip.
Get along very well with my friend Ari. He went back to a flip phone, and he looks disdainfully, sort of like former alcoholics look at everybody with a drink like there's no way you could just enjoy one drink.
No, I'm convinced there's some heavy mind control operation going on. Even the fact that this is the news, right? Is it time to turn off our Facebook? I mean, which reason do you want? And why is Facebook now at the forefront? No, it's not just the ad thing and the election thing. It's its influence over people and relationships, whether or not they're manipulating the feed. It's just the other symptoms. There's a lot that goes with the flaming sword of the smartphone or laptop that's linked into this network.
Right.
You know that?
Right. Yeah. No, I just look around at this. I mean, I'm an anthropologist, and I'm interested in human behavior, and I look at the behavior, like literally the physical behavior of people with smartphones, and it doesn't. It looks
monkey-like, right?
And anxious, and I don't want to look like that, and I don't want to feel like I think those people feel.
Wow, that's deep.
And we want to maintain our humanity. We don't want to become apathetic people, do we? And are we seeing a rise in apathy in the world? Are we feeling a rise of apathy within ourselves? Let's make sure we try to check ourselves to the best of our ability and see if there's a part of us that's becoming apathetic. Maybe only think of our own perception of a group, right? Or the targeted. Maybe we're forgetting the whole of humanity. maybe Facebook can kind of accentuate those natural narcissistic, it really want to be about our own little reality. But what about the greater world as a phone? And this internet should be there to link us to information about the whole world, not just to, I don't know, find ourselves a video game. Is this it? Is this the big critical mass where people wake up to the greater truth that Facebook has been logging their thoughts, reading their minds, programming their consciousness, that there's more than a few reasons to delete your Facebook account? But I may continue using it, but it's important that people realize that these servers are gathering data, but there is a deeper level of knowledge that people need to understand about this back and forth exchange of energy that's non-local. And it's like Facebook has shown us, as well as cell phone technology, about the collective mind linked synchronicity, non-local awareness. You think about someone and there they are, and the release of energy when someone likes your post, but it's also shown us the other side. But it's like, there's a phrase, the elephant in the room. It's like we need to be able to see the elephant in the room in a literal sense. Or another way of looking at the phrase, we need to be able to see the ghost in the machine. The archon in the room. So when you look at work like The Love Bite from Eve Lorgan and some of her literature, where she's written about unseen forces influencing human romantic relationships because of their own agenda, how would Facebook not be used? Or other forces unseen behind the scenes, using social media to link up particular intelligences in humans and to divide friendships, relationships, and unity among particular humans because of the unseen forces that want to create discontent. You see, on one level, you're hearing about Russian bots or cyber attackers or trolls or people that might be government agents that create discord within the chat rooms. Now, that's on a physical level. Can you imagine what's happening on the unseen levels? I'll tell you what, Facebook, in the same way that your hand, right, might pick something up from a buffet, your hand, Facebook is their hand into our world. So keep that in mind when wondering if you should delete your Facebook.